So for today's presentation, we're going to talk on how to train your household cat. In the front of your training manual and during this presentation, we're going to break the program down into 9 sections. You'll see each one listed here for you, and also, like I said, in the beginning of your manual. Description. So for this training program, we will cover how to eliminate some of the most common undesired behaviors in your cat. To do this, we will use the positive reinforcement method of clicker training. This will use a reward-based system in order to achieve the goals outlined in the goal section of your manual. I've listed 3 goals for you that I hope to accomplish with you and your cat. The first one is to stop your cat from biting you. The second is to stop your cat from scratching your furniture. And the third is to get your cat to enter a carrier on his own. The manual is designed in order for cat owners to successfully meet their training goals. Whether your newly adopted cat is having some trouble adjusting to their new home, or you would like to put a stop to some behaviors your kitten has picked up, this program is definitely going to be for you. Training schedule. So the length of training for this program is going to depend completely on your cat. It's important to remain patient during the training process and never rush through it, as each cat responds differently. Each session should last about 5 minutes in order to keep your cat's attention, with 2 to 3 sessions occurring weekly until your cat has performed each behavior easily. And to start off, we're going to concentrate on eliminating bad biting behavior. Next, we'll move on to concentrating on eliminating unwanted scratching behavior. And last, we're going to cover how to get your cat to enter his carrier willingly. There are 3 steps to this process. The first one is association. So your cat's going to need help associating the sound of the clicker with getting a treat. To do this, you're going to click, then give your cat a treat. You'll repeat this several times when he's in different positions throughout your house. And at this point, he doesn't have to do anything to get the treat. You're just going to give it to him. The second step is shaping. After your cat has associated the sound of the clicker with getting his treat, I want you to choose a behavior that your cat does, like a positive manner, like using a scratching post. Each time he performs that behavior, he goes over to the scratcher, you're going to click and treat. The third step is naming it. So after you've worked on shaping several times on separate days, I want you to choose a verbal cue you would like to use, such as good boy or good girl if you have a girl cat. When he performs the desired behavior, you're going to click and give your cat the treat from the opposite hand that you're holding the clicker in while using your verbal cue. And I want you to remember, like I mentioned, you should definitely keep your training each session short, no more than a few minutes at a time, as your cat's going to lose interest quickly. The tools you'll need for the program, some small treats that your cat likes, like greenies or some freeze-dried treats. If he's not food motivated, but maybe he likes something like grooming, make sure that you have a brush handy. You will also need a clicker. There are many different plastic options on Amazon, or you can go to a large pet store like Petco or PetSmart. You'll also need a cat carrier. I prefer hard ones with a door on the front. I find that they are most easiest to train with. You will also need a scratching post. The big thing here is to get one that is a different material than the material on the furniture that he's scratching on. And then I want you to have a target wand. So this can be any interactive stick-like toy that you have, like a pencil, or you can get one of those feather wands. Next, I've listed for you an ethogram. This is basically just a simple chart outlining behaviors that you'll see in a cat. I have categorized them by normal behaviors and ones that can be problematic. And I listed, put this down here because before a training plan can be created, you have to understand the normal behavior that your cat exhibits. After that has been done, it's important to identify environmental contingencies and to recognize any stress in your cat so you can adjust your plan accordingly and work at his speed. Striving to maintain these behaviors is not only going to improve your cat's overall behavior, but it's going to give him the needs, necessary needs for him, and it's also going to establish a happy household overall. My training philosophy, most importantly, my philosophy is to do no harm. My goal is to create a fun and effective learning environment for not only your cat, but also you, while striving to build lasting relationships wherever possible. The key component in accomplishing this for me is to address the whole. So by addressing the whole animal, the whole family, and the whole big picture, studies have shown that we will see more lasting behavioral changes. The environment or the setting that you should train your cat in, to successfully train your cat, you're going to need to minimize distractions. So you'll want to train him in an area that is away from other pets in your home or small children, and one that's free of loud noises, where you can have some one-on-one time with him. So if he typically bites you when you're playing with him, move to an area that you would normally play to train in. When you're to the point of training him to scratch on a scratcher, you should move to an area where you plan on putting the scratcher or where it already is. And then when you get to training him to enter his carrier, I want you to leave it out with the door open and put it in an area where he would normally go if you were going to put him in it. Like if you have a bedroom that you would normally close off for him to get in it, I want you to use that. And the best time to train with him is after mealtime, or again, if he's not that food motivated, maybe after a grooming session. Reinforcements. So positive reinforcement is a great way to improve your cat's behavior. By using this method, you're not punishing your cat for an unwanted behavior, but you're instead reinforcing the desired behavior. One way this is done is through clicker training, which we're going to use. With this, you're clicking and rewarding your cat, thereby demonstrating that its behavior is good and should be repeated. And over time, working with your cat, he's going to want to do more of what you want him to do, which will improve his behavior overall. There are two ways to reinforce positively that I am going to cover. One is counter conditioning. That is a process in which a cat that is reactive or fearful to a certain stimulus, say his cat carrier, learns to become happy and accepting of that stimulus. This is trained by pairing that with something that the cat likes and wants, like food or grooming. The second is redirection. This is a process in which food or another reward is used to entice your cat's attention away from the stimulus that you don't want him to use, like your furniture. And then, or for another example, say your cat constantly goes or chases after your feet. You're going to be redirecting him to a more positive stimulus when you're having him use something like a scratching post. My training protocols, so each of these is done after you've gotten your cat to associate the clicker with getting a treat and after you've shaped his behavior. So to stop unwanted biting, you're going to sit with your cat in a familiar place where you often interact, maybe on the couch. You're going to pick up a treat, and while you give it to your cat, I want you to click and use your verbal cue. After your cat eats the treat, pick up your target wand that you have, hold it a few inches from his face, never right in his face. I want you to click and give your verbal cue as the cat's nose touches the stick. So he's going to have to, go to it a little bit. Then put the wand out of sight and give him a treat. After he's taken the treat, hold the target stick out again to him. You're going to wait for him to touch it, and you're going to click and treat. After you've done this for several sessions, he should be approaching the target wand like with anticipation. To stop unwanted scratching. This behavior can be corrected by using the method we use to have him to stop biting, but by using your cat's scratching post as a stimulus instead. You're going to want to train this after he has learned to use the target wand and stop biting when playing with you. And then last part of the program, we're going to have your cat enter his carrier willingly. This is going to take some time and will vary depending on how your cat reacts to the carrier. Some may walk right in if you toss a treat in there. Others may need to be coaxed step by step. If that's the case, if it's going to take him a while to get in the carrier, you're going to start by clicking and treating, and then using your verbal cue when your cat just approaches the carrier. He doesn't have to enter it. Once he's comfortable doing that, you've worked with him a few times, you're going to get him to gradually enter the carrier. So you're going to click, treat, and use your verbal cue as he begins to put more of his body into the carrier till he's gotten his entire body in there. And after he's successfully done that, you're going to continue this by rewarding each time he enters and stays in the carrier. So this concludes the presentation. At this point, you should be at the end of your training manual. I hope that you and your cat are successful in training and that this program has proven or will prove to be effective for the two of you.